So we've seen a lot of use cases for AI, from earning money on YouTube, website design, medical advice, Excel spreadsheets, learning languages, doing game dev, Python, it's coding itself with that, playing chess, doing social media content, algo trading, search engines, and obviously art, so already there's a lot of jobs here that, AI seems to be replacing. Now if we take a look at automated vehicles and what AI does with that, like with self-driving cars, we don't need taxi drivers anymore. Self-driving trucks, there's no more delivery guys. Self-driving buses, no more bus drivers, and we've even had the self-driving trains for a long time. Even the obscure jobs, like a cameraman, reporting on news. You don't need the pilot anymore, you don't need the helicopter, and you don't need the cameraman. Drones replace all that. Now, when you put all this into a smart city, right, now, with all these automated vehicles and that, they've already got their sensors and everything. However, when everything's tracked, people, cars, trucks, trains, when every movement's tracked and working together, right, then they're all aware of each other, right? And now we eliminate things like accidents, people being on time, people being late, people not arriving, all these things go out the window, right? So you can see there's a lot of good things to come in smart cities. Now there's been a lot of uproar in the art community, and rightly so, especially when it comes to, these programs using people's art that, they haven't got permission to, and them profiting from that, so that's not good. But there's one thing that isn't being discussed, and that's that, all these artists, they're all professionals, right? So they're creating art for other people, right? And they're not creating their own art, so they have art directors who are telling them what to do and picking their compositions, right? Making adjustments and everything. So, they're not actually doing their own art. Now, AI, in a way, would solve this, right? Because now they could just work on their own stuff. Now, what we're talking about here, though, is replacing their jobs. So what do they do about that, right? Well, this is where the universal basic income comes in, right? Because now if you're getting paid a monthly salary, right, just for doing whatever you want, right, now you can produce your own art, right? So we see here, with the universal basic income, you're getting a basic wage, right? But the big thing is you're getting all this free time to pursue your own endeavours, right? So this is a good thing, right? And this is where people are not distinguishing between what's professional and personal, and I know a lot of people wouldn't want to be working. Of course, if you want to work, there's that capability as well, right? So we're not saying it's going to wipe out all the jobs, but it's going to be changing the job landscape. With all this AI and robotics and all that coming, this is where Pi Network comes into play. Like I said, becoming a UBI, it's the perfect mechanism. And although it's really hard to see that right now, by the time 2030 comes, this is where our Pi, is going to be so valuable, and obviously it's going to be valuable before then. But, by the time 2030 rolls around, this is where we become the number one crypto in the world.